Hi everybody, so this is the last video I'm doing today. I just remembered I needed to make one more. I just did a video on the tires here about what to look out for when you're buying e-bike tires. So if you have an e-bike and you want to know a little bit of advice that I think has helped me, check that video out and see what type of tires I try and buy for my bike. Now this last video here I'm going to do today is on how much money I saved cycling my bike, and I did one of these videos I think last year. Yeah, I think it was last year, must have been last year, and I saved about £3,000 cycling my bike. I've had this bike for 3 years now, and I cycle 12.5 miles each way to my work, so I'm doing 25 miles a day. It's 125 miles each week, you know. So I'm doing, what am I doing? It's 500 miles a month for work. And so I just wanted to cover how much money I've basically saved on this and any of the expenses. So if you're buying like an e-bike and you're thinking, well, you're looking at it and going, well, the e-bike's going to be £1,000 or £2,000, you know, am I actually going to save any money? You know, how often can I ride it? Like, what happens when it gets to be really cold? You know, am I going to ride my bike? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens with me, and I'm going to tell you how much money I saved on my e-bike, and I'm going to go through all the costs of running my e-bike as well, including how much money I spend on electricity and everything. So stick with me, and then you will get a better idea, or very good idea, hopefully, of the running costs on this bike, and how much I've had to spend on it and how much money I've actually saved, because I have saved a lot of money. So I'm going to start off with like how much money that I've saved not spending money on the London Underground, and it costs me almost £10 a day now. I think it's like £9.80 to go from North London through Central London to South London where I work. So it's costing me £10 a day on the Underground. If I go through another station, if I walk to another station, it costs me even more because I'm going to an extra zone. But then if I walk one zone, then it saves me a little bit of money. But basically, it's costing me, if I take the London Underground, it's costing me £50 a week to take the London Underground, £10 a day. I can buy a travel card. I think that might, I'm not sure if that's actually going to save me any money. I haven't bought a travel card for at least 2 or 3 years. Ever since I got this bike, I haven't bought a travel card, but I'm not sure if that would save me any money, because they'll probably charge me for the weekend as well. But anyway, it doesn't really make much sense to, you know, buy a travel card when you've got a bike like this. So I'm spending roughly, to get to my work, I would be spending roughly £50 a week on the London Underground to get to work. So that's roughly £200 a month, and I ride my bike here for about 7, sometimes a little bit more, 7.5 months, and I'm going to tell you why I don't ride the bike all year in a little bit. But basically I ride it for 7 months, and saving the £200 works out to £1,400 a year. Now my bike cost me, I had it for 3 years. The price of these bikes, I looked at them, they still make them actually, and the price of these bikes now, I think they've gone up to £1,000 or something on the Fido website. My bike cost me, when I bought it, was £800, and that was 3 years ago. So the price of these bikes have gone up by £200 in 3 years. I've had no problems with my bike at all. Check out my video. I've just posted a video on 6,500 miles, on my bike here, and I go through all the things that all the problems that I've had with this bike, like the brakes and the battery. I discuss all of that and anything that's gone wrong with my bike. And by the way, I don't work for Feeder or anything. I just was looking for a bike. I didn't know anything about Feeder. I'd never even heard of them, but I just wanted a small bike that I could fit in my house, where I didn't want to leave it on the street to get stolen. So I needed like a really small folding bike with a long range, because I couldn't charge my bike at work, so it had to go all the way to my work and then back home, which was like I said, it's 25 miles. So I needed something with like a long range, and I can actually get 2 days out of this. I never do. I always charge it every single day, just because if something happens, I don't want to be like pedaling it, because it's a bit of a nightmare to pedal this thing if you don't have the battery. And I've done it. I've actually pedaled it once from work without any battery, because I forgot my key. It's got a key around here, and I left it at work, and I took the key with me, and then I forgot to take, when I went to pick the bike up, I forgot to take the key, and so I had to pedal it just using the pedals with no electric assist. Anyway, going back to that, bike cost $800. I've saved $1,400 on total. I've saved about 4,200 pounds riding my bike. I've roughly worked it out. That's like how much money that I've saved since I've had this bike, because I use it sometimes on the weekends as well. I'll do I'll ride to different places, so instead of getting the bus or the underground somewhere, I will just jump on my bike, and that can save me like 10 pounds straight away like that. So bike costs $800, and in total, after 3 years without spending money on transport, I've saved 4,000. So that in total is what is that, 3,400? So that saved me 3,400 if you minus off the price that I paid for the bike. Now, what about electricity? Electricity is really, really cheap. The guy I bought this bike off, he had an electric car, BMW, and I asked him, like not a big one, I think it was just like an i3 or something, the smaller BMWs, like small hatchbacks. And I said to him, how much does it cost to charge your battery on your electric car? And he said, it costs about two pounds to charge the battery for an electric car. Now this has got a large battery here on it. It's a what was the size of this battery? Was it 23? Where's the thing? 23 milliamps or something. It's quite a large battery. Where is it? Check out if you want to look at it. It's 23 amp hours, 23.2 amp hours is the size of that, and I specifically bought this one because it had a large battery to get me to work. Now I've worked it out that I charge my bike every day, even though the battery's not flat. When I get home, I charge it up. It takes about 4 to 6 hours depending on how drained the battery is, and the battery will drain more if I'm wearing heavier cycling gear. So if it's winter and I'm wearing big cycling gear, which is like 4 or 5 kilos worth of like cycling gear, it will drain an extra bar from the battery. In summer, I can get to work and back on just 2 batteries, but in winter it uses a little bit more. But anyway, to charge this battery completely every day costs me roughly about 6 to 8p. So 6 to 8 pence per day to charge this battery. So I worked it out a while ago. I hope the figures are correct. So all year this is roughly costing me somewhere about, I would say, between 13 and 16 pounds a year to ride this bike all year, but I only ride this bike for about 7.5 months, maybe 8 months a year, like maximum. So I'm actually not riding it for the whole year, but I charge it every single day, and depending on whether it's summer or winter, you know, in summer it it's probably about 6p a day, in winter it might be about 8p a day if I'm wearing the extra cycle gear. And that works out to, I think, that works out to £16 a year if I use the bike every single day. I worked it out, but obviously I'm not using the bike every single day, so it's actually probably a bit less than that. It's probably only about £10, maybe 10 to 12 pounds that it's costing me. It's really, really cheap. I mean, I haven't noticed my electricity bill go up at all since I've been, you know, since I've had this bike. Is, you know, there's no significant increase in my electricity bill because I own an electric bike, because it's so cheap. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the maintenance stuff now. And the only real maintenance stuff I do on this bike is tires and brakes. That's the only thing I've ever had to replace on this bike. It's just gone, you know, the electrics have been fine. It's never broken down on me. It's like a super bike, you know. But I put these, see these X-Tech here? So I put X-Tech zooms in, and it costs me, the last time I bought them, I bought 8 pairs of brakes for I think £11, and I can get about 500 to 600 to 700 miles off these brakes before I have to change them. So I've spent on brakes for this bike, I've spent about £25 in total in 3 years. I bought all my stuff off Amazon, and I bought one lot for £10 before, and I bought this one for £10, and I bought another one for about, I think, £5-6 when I originally got it, because when I originally got it I wasn't sure how long the brakes were going to last, so I just bought 2 pads, and I thought they came in a set of 2, and I thought, oh, these will last me like, you know, 3,000 miles, and they didn't. They lasted me like 500 miles, and then I bought them. So that's how much I spent on brakes in 3 years, about £25 I would say. Tires here, I just bought a new tire for this. I just did a video on tires if you want to check out that. I'm going to have to replace this tire again. It costs £10. That tire on the front is the original tire. It's still gonna do at least another 5,000 miles. Obviously there's not much weight on it, and I don't use it for braking as much, whereas the rear tire I use it for braking, and it carries more weight, you know, because I'm sitting up here and there's more weight on it, and you're using it to accelerate the bike, so it wears out. So I'm going to have to spend another £20 on that. So I spent £10 on that, that's £35, and I'm going to have to spend another £20 on a new tire. What did I say? 25, 35, so it's 55. So it's £55 that I've spent on maintenance with that. And then I spent probably another, my gloves there were £8. I just bought a new set and I lost the last set, so I spent £16 on cycle gloves. Helmet was £30 for that. Light I've had for ages, I think that was about 30, and the cycling mirror I think was somewhere between 20 and 30, and the bag was about, I think, 15. So in total I have probably spent about £100 on the cycle gear and the brakes and the tires on this. So if you have a look at that, I'm looking at about £900 that I've spent on this bike in 3 years. But like I said, you know, it cost me £10 a day just to take the London Underground. And so when you're looking at £50 a week, it's really only 2 weeks going to work, and you've already saved yourself, you know. Yeah, so in total, this bike has cost me around about £900 for 3 years. So you're looking at, you know, if you divide that over, you know, 900 divided by 3 years, it's costing me about £300 a year. to run this bike. But like I said, you know, if I take the London Underground, it's costing me £200 a month, right? Now, the last thing I want to speak about is you're probably wondering why I don't ride this bike all year. And in the winter, I don't like riding bikes much in the winter because it's wet and it's cold. You know, I live in the UK, conditions are not good, and I prefer like riding in safety. You can see like all the safety equipment that I've got, like the gloves and the helmet and the mirror and all that. So I like to cycle as safely as I can. So I only ride my bike from to about October, and then November, December, January, February I will kind of like, you know, put the bike up depending on what the weather is like. I might ride, you know, a little bit into November, but once it starts getting really cold, you know, I'll usually put it up for December, January, February, and then I will start riding beginning or mid-March. So for 3 months of the year when it's really, really cold, I don't ride my bike, and then I have to pay for like the underground and stuff. But for those 7 months that I do ride it, obviously it saves me like a lot of money, and the bike has paid for itself, you know, over again, like, you know, £200 a month. If I ride it for 4 months, that's the £800 that I spent on it gone. And I think I should probably get, like, there's nothing really wrong. The battery is fine with this bike, you know. I've had no real mechanical problems with it. Even the chain hasn't broken. So I'm thinking, you know, I should get at least another 3 years off this bike, probably, maybe even more. You know, maybe I can get like 6, 7, 8 years off it if I, you know, I'm still working in the same job and I'm still riding this bike. So, you know, if I ride it for, say, 8 years, what's that? That's going to be almost 8,400. So if I ride it for 8 years, it's going to save me about £8,000 in 8 years, which is quite good, you know, considering it's basically almost free when you consider the price of, you know, charging it up being so little, you know, 5-6 pence to ride 25 miles in one day is like a really good price, you know. Anyway, that's a quick update on how I saved basically £4,200 riding my bike, and hope that helps anybody. If you guys are into electric bikes or, you know, electric travel, I think it's definitely the cheapest way, you know, to travel now, especially with the price of petrol and diesel. You know, the price of petrol and diesel is just through the roof now. And so, you know, any means of traveling which is cheaper is good. And also the London Underground keep putting their prices up every single year. You know, they add 20-30p to every journey. So, you know, when you factor in their increases and then the prices of increases if you have to ride, you know, pay for diesel or petrol on your car, it's like a lot of money, you know. So something like this can really help you out. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching my video. And I've just done 3 other videos as well, so check them out if you want to know things about tires, if you want to know things about you know, if I've had any problems with this bike or anything. And, you know, like I said in the previous videos, like, you know, I'm not like a Fido rep or anything. They didn't give me this bike for free. I had to pay the full price for this bike off the guy I bought it off. And I'm just giving my honest opinion on this bike. You know, I don't own any other e-bike, so I can't tell you if they're good or bad, but for this little bike, it's been really good. And the great thing about this bike is, you know, like I said, I wanted a bike that's I can fold up and put in my house so it doesn't get stolen, because even with a good lock, if you put a bike like this out on the street, it's not going to be there in the morning. Somebody will come along and steal this bike, you know. So I needed a bike that I could store in the hallway of my house, just fold it up and then just unfold it really quickly. To be honest, I don't even unfold it. I just leave it on its stand and I just plug it in and charge it every day, and then, you know, ride it out of my house. Anyway, thanks for watching my videos, and check the other ones out. And I'm off to Spain. I can't remember if I said that, but I'm off to Spain next week. I'm going to do some more travel videos. I might try and rent a bike out there and do a little bit of cycling up and down the coast. I'm off to the coast of Costa Brava. So check those out, and thanks for watching another one of my videos. And as usual, if you guys are subscribers, that's fantastic. If you're not a subscriber and found this video interesting or helpful, I do all sorts of little videos, mainly on this bike, because, well, this is the only bike I own, you know, but on the different maintenance things and that. But I'm always posting videos on this bike, you know, every year. So it would really help if you would subscribe and post a like. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next video.